If someone put a gun to your head right now and said you've got 7 days to sign a client, or trigger's getting pulled, game over, the chances are you'd probably figure out how to land that client. So the question is, why don't we hold ourselves to this level of accountability all the time? I could go into a deep rabbit hole about neuroscience and procrastination, but that's not going to help you. What is going to help you is telling you that you can hold yourself to that level of accountability. So for the next however many minutes, I want you to forget everything that you know about signing clients. This isn't just for copywriting clients, this is for any type of service-based business. Because what I'm going to share with you, this strategy, it's going to sound insane, it's borderline unhealthy, but it works, and it works fast. So what I'm going to introduce you to is this strategy that I call goblin mode, right? I wrote about this in my email the other day and people seemed to like it, so I thought I would do a video on it. But basically, there's a big difference between not just copywriters, like I said, service-based businesses who succeed and who don't, especially for the beginners. And it all comes down to outreach, cold outreach. Cold outreach is your bread and butter. That's probably the best way to sign clients if you're a beginner. If you're a beginner, you can't run paid ads, you can't do content, you've got nothing to speak about. You need to physically go out into the world and ask people for their business. But the thing is, most people treat outreach like this delicate art form. Like, they spend too much time in the messages and they're not ramming volume. That's like the number one thing, you need to ram volume. I'm not saying that you just send spray and pray messages and you don't personalize them, but you still need to do a huge amount of volume. But the big thing that actually separates people from like winning and losing in this game is a sense of urgency. Like, you hear loads of people who have they're spending weeks before they start outreaching people, like building their own funnel, getting their website made. Like, none of that is progressing you to getting your first client. None of it. That doesn't move the needle. We always like to talk about needle moving tasks in business. That is not a needle moving task. That's you just doing busy work and procrastinating, essentially. You're just not doing the work that's going to get you the one thing that you fucking want, a paying client or your next paying client. So what exactly is goblin mode? Basically, for 7 days, or however long you want to do this, if you really want to sign a client, just keep fucking doing this, right? But basically what you're going to do is you're going to temporarily abandon everything that doesn't get you to that goal of signing clients. So I suggest 7 days of complete obsession. You remove every single thing that isn't getting you towards that goal of signing copywriting clients. You don't watch Netflix, you don't play fucking Fortnite, you don't watch movies, you don't scroll on Instagram. All you do for every spare moment that you have, if you have a job and that's fine, you need to go and do that, but every other spare moment is spent with doing these three things: finding prospects, writing them samples, and sending outreach. That's the only three things that you can actually do, that you have control over, to go and sign clients. So for the next 7 days, that's all you do. You sleep 4 or 5 hours a night. You're not gonna die, it's only a week, right? 7 days of this, and every single moment is spent outreaching. All you do is get up, coffee, laptop, and you just blast out outreach for 7 fucking days. It's not that hard, it's only a week. See, the thing is, most people have a different perspective of what intense work is. A lot of people were saying like, yeah, I'm locked in on outreach, and they've done 30 in the past 7 days. That's not locked in, that is not intense. Inside my program, I actually showed people what's possible if you really go for it, and I was able to send 5 outreaches in 55 minutes. And that was finding prospects from scratch, writing them samples with AI, and sending the outreach. 5 in 55 minutes. Now imagine all of the spare hours that you've got across a week, and you can do 5 or 4 even every single hour. Imagine how many outreaches you're gonna hit, right? Most people are sending 30 or 35 in a week and they're like, yeah, I'm locked in. That is just not enough if you really want to sign a client. And a lot of people have a different idea of what a good number of volume is. See, I've actually worked out that if you send between 200 and 400 outreach messages, you're almost guaranteed a client. Guaranteed, almost. I'm not saying that you are, but you're almost guaranteed a client. If you find prospects that actually require your service and you write them a personalized sample, and you write them a personalized email, and you follow up with them. I almost guarantee that you can sign a client within 200 to 400 outreaches, right? Now, I'm pretty sure that you could do that in a week. You could definitely do it in a month. Like, what I'm saying to you is, if you start on day 1, by day 30, if you do this goblin mode, you would have pretty much guaranteed yourself a paying client if you do the work, right? So in practice, what this is going to look like is, like I said, you get up, you get your coffee, you go to your laptop, and you start working. But what are you actually doing? Well, you need to go and watch my other videos to see how to find clients, how to reach out to them with the AI, how to write them samples. Go and watch all these videos and then just start doing it, right? But basically, you're going to do it in this sequence. You're going to find a prospect, you're going to make sure there's a hole in their funnel, you're going to write them a sample, you're going to outreach them. Then you're going to go and find another prospect, find a hole, write sample, outreach, boom, boom, boom. 4 things. All you need to do is focus on those 4 things, and I'm guaranteeing you that you could sign a client, right? But this is the thing, like on my last video, I heard some people were in the comments like, oh, another cold outreach course. No, it's not. In my program, I teach you how to write direct response copy with AI. 5% of it is client outreach, right? Because if you know how to write the copy, you can send that as samples as work, and then you can sign a client. So I seen what one of the other comments was like, oh, just write a funnel and let clients come to you. Don't waste your time on outreach. Right, let me debunk this right now. You write a funnel, where the fuck is the traffic coming from? If you're a beginner, or even if you've got 1 or 2 clients, right, you're not going to be able to, 1, afford paid ads. To get a booked call for a service that's going to cost $2K upwards a month, you're going to be spending at least $500 per qualified call. And at a close rate of 25 to 30%, you're going to be spending around $2K to get 1 client. You don't have the money to do paid ads, so there's no point in writing a funnel. The other way to get people into a funnel is do organic content. But if you're a beginner, you have nothing to speak about in content. So how are clients going to come to you? I'm sorry to tell you this, right? But see your little Instagram page that's like J Milne writes copy, and you put quotes and carousels and little videos of you speaking about copywriting frameworks. That is not getting you clients. It's not. No, like, respectable business owner is going to watch that video and be like, yeah, take $2K a month for me to write emails. They're just not. It does not happen. You only get clients if you're a beginner, if you do cold, hard outreach at scale. And what I'm saying to you is that first paying client or your next paying client that you really want to get is only really a month away if you actually do the work. Like I've calculated it myself with my own outreach. For every 150 to 250 personalized samples that I sent, I was signing a paying client. Now granted, I've got case studies and that helped. But what I'm saying is, if you're a beginner and you do this goblin mode and you just remove everything else, remove all the distractions, and all you do is just sickening amount of outreach, then it's impossible, almost impossible for you not to sign a client. Because let's say you lock in, you do this for 7 days. I don't have like a day job, right? I could just sit and smash this out for 12 hours a day, right? But let's say you do 12 hours a day and you can do 5 in an hour, but maybe you have breaks, so you're doing 10 hours of outreach, right? And that is times by 5. That's 50 a day, right? Times that by 5. It's going to be almost impossible for you not to sign a client, because you're going to be well into like 400s, 500s, and if you keep that up for a month, you could sign 2 or 3 clients. But here's the thing, this is what I call the great filter. Most people are going to hear this and be like, I'm not fucking doing that. I'm not sitting at a desk and sending outreach for 10 hours. Right, good, that's fine. The rest of us will take the clients. Because people forget, like, when you're outreaching people, trying to get them to pay you for copywriting services, you're not just trying to get people to pay you. You're building a business. And contrary to what most YouTube titles and videos are saying, it's not normal to go from 0 beginner to 50K a month in 4 months. It's near on impossible to do that, right? But like, a lot of people forget that they're building a business, and it could take 3 months, 6 months to get to 10K a month. It took me a year to get to 10K a month, right? But a lot of people think that they're just going to jump in, send 50 outreaches, and they're like, why am I not signing any clients? It's like, yeah, because you've only done 50 outreaches. Come to me when you've done 500 and you've not booked a call, right? Because then we have data. Then we can see what you're doing wrong. You're clearly doing something wrong if you're sending that many outreaches that are personalized samples and you're not getting any calls. But what I'm saying is, you need to be doing it. If you send 200 outreaches and you come to me, I would maybe be like, right, there's some problems here, right? But see if you're coming to me and you're like, right, I've done 40 outreaches. Why have I not signed anybody? You're answering your own question because you've sent 40 outreaches. I could do that in 2 days if I really, really, really had to. I could do it in 1 day if I had to. You're going to get run over by people who really want it. And that is what this goblin mode is for. This goblin mode is going to really, it's like Iman Gadzi's like monk mode thing, right? But goblin mode's a much shorter period of time. You're only going to be able to keep this up for like 7 days max, really. And it's basically just 7 days of pure hard work. You're just going to get up, sit on your laptop, prospect, outreach, prospect, outreach, prospect, outreach. It's going to be boring, it's going to be shit. But imagine after that 7 days, if you're in 20 conversations with prospects and you're on the verge of signing 2.5K a month retainers. Next minute, you're at 5K a month from nothing in 7 days. That's all it takes, and you can actually do it because of AI now. You can write A+ copy pretty much even if you're a beginner, right? Now, obviously, fulfilling for those clients, you're going to need to really learn the funnels and get deeper in, but that's your starting point, and that's your foot in the door. Am I saying that you're going to get the 2.5 clients, 2.5K clients? You might not. One of them might be 1K, might be $800, but you're just starting. All you want is the cash. But what that's going to allow you to do is, when you sign that client, you go, fuck, I done that after 150 outreaches, and it took me 5 days, or it took me 3 days. Then you're like, right, all I need to do is just do more and do it for the next week and the next week and the next week. And then before you know it, you could be at like 4 or 5 clients. So that is it. I feel like I've ranted for long enough. So goblin mode, it's not going to be pretty, it's not going to be fun, but it'll be fun when, you know, a couple of grand lands in your bank on day 7. So yeah, I'll leave you with that. If you're not already, make sure you click the link in the description, get on my newsletter and get access to all the AI prompts that I use for free. I've had maybe like 8 or 9 people that have signed clients just simply from being on the newsletter, not even being in the paid programs. They've just done what I've told them on the newsletter and they've signed clients. So make sure you're on that newsletter. And that is it. Go goblin mode if you dare, and I will see you guys.